kilometres off the coast of Fremantle in Western Australia and surrounded by deep blue waters, Rottnest is the holiday island for the people of Perth. With up to 500,000 people coming to this island every year and up to 15,000 people at any one time, tourism is the island's major industry. Like the rest of the Western Australian coastline, Rottnest is a limestone base covered in sand. But what makes Rottnest so unique is the magnificent reef that surrounds the island. Once we got onto the island, a quick cycle took us to the basin. We hopped in the water just a little bit further up to find a fishbowl full of life. The water was teeming with fish. It was immediately obvious why these waters rank among the top snorkeling destinations in Australia. Everywhere you looked, something was happening. It seemed incredible that such a vibrant ecosystem was so close to Perth, and without the Swan River's silt in the water, the visibility off Rottnest is always crystal clear. The best time to go snorkeling is in the morning, when it isn't too windy. The same rule applies for anywhere in the southwest. The best thing is, Rottnest caters to snorkelers of all abilities, whether you're a beginner, wading in the basin, or a freediver exploring swim-throughs in the limestone. There's even something for scuba divers. A couple of days after we snorkeled it, we came back for a couple of boat dives. As amazing as snorkeling is, it's really no match for hovering above the coral 20 meters below the surface. If you get a chance to scuba dive here, do it. Go out of your way to make it happen. You'll see more of the ocean in a 45-minute dive than you would in a month of snorkeling. Just off the west end of the island lives a colony of New Zealand fur seals. Their numbers have been increasing over the years, and they are now a reliable sight. They can often be seen sunbathing on Cathedral Rocks. Be warned, you have to cycle from one end of the island to the other, a 3-hour round trip. But if you're up for an adventure, it's totally worth it. There's a path leading up to a lookout on the cliffs. Just follow the signs and maybe take a map. The Rottnest Island colony is at the northernmost point of the species' western distribution, which makes them valuable for conservation research. Their population growth is distinctly different from the eastern population, meaning a different approach to conservation and management may be necessary. As well as being valuable to research, they're a spectacular sight. Bring a pair of binoculars or a long zoom lens for your camera, and take a look up close. If you have a few days on Rottnest, make sure this is on your to-do list. Rottnest Island is an important hotspot for bird life. Coastal birds, like these Australian pied cormorants, are always visible riding the air currents over rocky outcrops. However, the best place to watch the bird life is down by the salt lakes, where the population of brine shrimp provides food. The brine shrimp also gives the lake a beautiful pink hue. Various species can be seen in the shallow water, from these adorable little red-capped plovers to enormous flocks of banded stilts. All sorts of different migratory birds call Rottnest home, so it changes throughout the year and you can be guaranteed it's always interesting. If you're lucky, you may see some larger birds on the island. Pelicans can often be found not far from where the jetty lands, and several introduced peacocks roam the settlement. Of course, Rottnest wouldn't be what it is without the quokka. In fact, the island's name means rat's nest, after some Dutch explorers mistook these adorable little wallabies for giant rats. But these little guys are nothing like rats. They've earned themselves the nickname of the happiest animal on Earth, and it's not hard to see why. Devoid of any predators like feral cats, Rottnest serves as a refuge. In fact, it's one of the only 2 stable populations in the world. The other is on Bald Island just off Albany. They may not look like much, but these guys can survive on an island with almost no fresh water, climb trees, and if you ignore the risk of a $300 fine and pat them, then they will have a crack at you. So keep your distance, bring your camera, and take a chance to see one of the most adorable things you probably ever will. The most common way to get to Rottnest is by ferry, which leaves from Fremantle, Hillary's, or the Perth CBD. Tickets can be a bit pricey, so it's always a good idea to keep your eye out for discounts and deals, which come pretty regularly. It's not too long of a ferry ride either way, and the boat itself is pretty big and stable, so even those with seasickness usually have a pleasant trip. Whether you're looking for a day trip or a week-long getaway, Rottnest Island is always a good bet.